Shadows and its parts. In this video, we have two objectives. Recognize that shadows have two parts, and look at the question, why are some shadows fuzzy? So a shadow has two parts, umbra and penumbra. The umbra is the part that is completely dark. There's no light that gets through the opaque object that is casting the shadow. The penumbra is the outer part of the shadow that includes some light, making it appear gray. A penumbra is also called a partial shadow. So let's begin by casting a shadow of this pen. So depending on how I orient the light and the object, I can create a sharp image right there, you see. Sharp image is created because there's a large distance between the object and the light source. Or I can lessen that distance and you see that the shadow starts to become fuzzy. So sharp, fuzzy. So if I cast project an image of my hand, I'll see the same thing. Depending where I have my hand, I will definitely have some sort of a shadow, and it'll be surrounded by a fuzzy part called the penumbra. Now, why does the penumbra form? Well, it has to do with the fact that a light source actually has a diameter to it. So the edge of the light source, in this case, we're going to cast a shadow of that red object. It could be something like a marker right there, casting a shadow onto a screen. And the light source actually has a diameter to it. It's not necessarily a point. And the bottom edge of the light source clears the object. Therefore, the light keeps traveling and it hits the screen. Anything that's closer to the principal axis is blocked by that red object. Same thing for the upper end of the light source, casts light. Remember that we have light going in all directions. We're just interested in the light aimed at the object. So right here we have that light beam going and just clears the object and ends up arriving at the screen. Anything in between is blocked by the object, and thus we have the shadow. Now, what about the edges of the shadow? Well, since there's a diameter here, some of this light is actually directed across the principal axis from the top of the light source to the bottom of the object. And it's less light than this direct line. And consequently, what happens in this region, we get a little bit of light that appears on the screen. And same thing from the bottom of the light source. We have light beams going in all directions, and the bottom light clears the top of the object, sending some light over above the shadow. So we have a lighter region, or really a gray region, above and below the shadow. So the penumbra makes the shadow look fuzzy, and the larger the penumbra, the more fuzzy the shadow. So the more extended the light source, the larger the penumbra. So if we make the light source even larger than in the previous diagram, what ends up happening is the penumbra gets more pronounced because of the angles of this light. What happens is the large light source starts approaching to be the size of the object, so the size of the shadow starts getting smaller and the penumbra starts getting very large. So you can see some shadows that I'm casting with my head over here, and that's because of the light I have in this room off the ceiling. It's far enough away that the penumbra of the shadow of my head is so large that you just see like splotches of light. Unlike my hand, which the closer I get here, the better the shadow. As I move away, the penumbra starts getting pronounced. Thank you.